Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tom Worth Jr. Monday, tomorrow's election day, and I wanted to talk a few things related to Trump's tariffs and Iowa specifically, soybeans, international relations, and I'm going to start out with the soybeans, with the Iowa poll that shocked the world over the weekend. Commenter brought up the soybeans thing, but that's, we were hoping and we are hoping that the Iowa poll is indicative of the Midwest in general, especially the blue wall states that are the battlegrounds. Could be Iowa specific with all the farming there. And recall that his tariffs, the tariff wars he started, resulted in, it's not just tariffs, it's a tariff war when other countries reciprocate with tariffs of their own. And China did just that with a lot of U.S. agricultural products, in particular soybeans. And a lot of soybeans are grown in Iowa, among other agricultural products. And I was looking up some numbers on this. And Trump, we know that that the tariffs failed, that they resulted in trade wars, and not only did we lose those trade wars, but we then had to bail out the farmers who lost out on all that business from China and from other countries. So that's how it went. He raised a few $billions in tariffs, and made our prices go up, and gave out to farmers to make up for lost business on their behalf. That's how we know he lost the tariff war. Not just that he fought it, but that he actually lost it. The dollar amounts are staggering, and I have them right here. It's more than were spent on our entire nuclear arsenal in 2018. These funds that that Trump gave to the farmers to make up for his tariffs, it's more than spent on the entire State Department, all of our foreign policy machinery, from the Secretary of State on down to all the embassies around the world, all the diplomats, everyone. It's more than that. He gave $28 billion in government subsidies to these farmers who didn't want government money. They grew their stuff and they couldn't sell it because of his trade wars, because of his tariffs. $28 billion in 2018 and 2019. I think it was like $12 billion one year, $16 billion the other year. So $28 billion combined. And at the time, Trump even joked around with them and said, well, you should love me even more than you did in 2016 because I have given you $28 billion. So he's always making comments about buying people's votes. And this is just his tariff stupidity. So even though he lived through that and experienced all of that, this is what one of the two things we know about him. He wants to be the authoritarian, and he wants to have a tariff regime. And these Iowa farmers, I talked earlier in my video yesterday about groups of people remembering things collectively as a group, because they sit there and they talk about it. If you are part of, an oppressed group, you can commiserate with other members of that oppressed group. If you are a farmer in Iowa and you're not able to sell anything to your normal customers anymore because of what the president did, you're going to remember that. And so he was reelected in 2020. He wasn't reelected in Iowa, but Iowa did vote for him again in 2020. But I think they would have assumed that he learned his stupid lesson and wouldn't do that again. So he spent this whole election cycle just hammering on his tariffs. And he's doubling down on them. He's not backing off. And so these people realize, oh my God, he's going to do this again. He's going to do this for the whole 4 years. So we can't have that again. We can't lose our way of life to this guy who doesn't understand economics, doesn't understand the world economy. This is why I think, well, obviously the women is the huge part of that. That was the 20-point gap between women voters for Harris versus women voters for Trump in this Iowa poll. But the farmers and their families, I mean, the whole economy could pivot on this. It is a global economy. You could be a farmer in Iowa, and your product is sold to China, and it's shipped to China, and it's just so basic, so basic. But he doesn't get it. But the people who do this for a living do. That brings me to foreign policy in general. I was listening to a podcast that I listen to. It's a global affairs podcast. It's every week. And they were talking about the election as viewed around the world. This is the episode from Halloween. And how papers and news organizations from around the world are just hugely interested in this. They always are, because America is so important. But this one has all of these just wild elements to it. And they can't get enough, and it's selling newspapers, and it's selling website ads, and it's really driving quite the economy itself, this trade in the U.S. presidential election. I have some viewers here who they'll say, I could look at them as a foreigner coming from outside of Texas when they say they're from Nebraska or D.C. or wherever, but these people will chime in from Ireland or from England or a Dutch person. I remember Canada, a lot of Canada. People are interested in this stuff. Germany, these are where some of my comments have come from, and I love that. And they're far more interested in the U.S. than many U.S. citizens are interested in their countries and other countries of the world. But so are these newspapers, and it affects their lives. The stuff about Ukraine and NATO, that we wouldn't be contributing as much. Well, they don't like the fact that they are as reliant on U.S. contributions to their security as they are. And one of the comments in one of the papers over there was that it is just untenable for us in Europe, for our security to depend on voters in Wisconsin every 4 years. That's not okay, and we need to do more. And they are doing more, and they have been doing more. They will continue to do more because they know things are unstable here, and we're all just tied together. And as we are heading into the final day here, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a good reminder of how important this is, and I think the Iowa survey is very real. I think those results are very real. It apparently just really got under Trump's skin all day yesterday. His staff was just trying to coddle him and telling him the poll is bogus and doesn't mean anything and it's all wrong. And Trump, at one of his stops, said it's just a poll by a Trump hater who got the last one so wrong when she got it exactly right, just like she gets everyone exactly right. It's just really, when you have the second to the last day of your campaign and you're in a crucial battleground state that is so important to your future, not only to to be the president 4 years, okay, that's cool, and you can get all of the graft and corruption and everything you want to do. It's keeping him possibly out of prison for 4 more years, and maybe for the rest of his life if he can pull this thing out. So he has everything riding on this last 2 days, and he spends time today at a campaign stop, at least one that I know of, talking about this Iowa Des Moines Register poll, how bad the lady is who did the poll. This is what he's talking about. He is just so unstable and so childish, and I do love this. It's very exciting. I was talking to my wife tonight. It's like when you have the big game and you're going to win. Like when the Cowboys would play the Bills, you just knew we were going to win. We almost lost that second one, but you just knew we were going to win. And it is so different when yeah, you're pretty sure you're going to win, but there is a chance that the other team could win. And that's the excitement of this. Yes, I know she's going to win, but but there is that chance, and that's what makes it so exciting, and terrifying, and to the point where you can't even really contemplate it. You got to just kind of, that's what I'm telling everyone. You just got to set it aside, when I'm talking people down from the ledge, whoever they are, whether it's someone online or someone in my life, someone in text or on the phone, and they don't understand where my confidence comes from. And it's real. I have the confidence. I'm not thinking of the alternative. Kamala Harris, I promise you, is not worrying about if Donald Trump beats her. She's going out to win this thing every day. Jimmy Johnson, when he was the coach of the Cowboys, was not worried about what the other team was going to do or if they were going to win. He was getting the Cowboys ready to kick their ass. That's all he cared about. It's all he was focused on. And that's all she is focused on. That's all I'm focused on. And we're going to stay focused on it for another day and another night here. And then tomorrow will be the longest day of our lives, I'm sure, for many of us, and then into the night. But I'm hoping we know the answer before we go to bed Tuesday night, and I think we will. And that's what I'd like to get through today with, and hopefully you guys can too. So that's about it for now, and might do another one later tonight or tomorrow. I'm not sure. I got to see what the schedule holds, but you all have a good day, and we'll talk later.